What's your team name?
It's the Dog's Bollocks. Yeah, I went for a little rest after coming up with that one.
Just shut up for a minute, will you?
Okay.
I need to get a greater understanding on what went on.
Well, pretty much what went on was that the Team Dog's Bollocks went for a few drinks. The team got drunk, and it was at that point I took the opportunity, Lord Sugar, to sell them packs of crisps for profit.
You sold 14 packs?
They were quite hungry.
For £78.80?
Well, 78.80 at 14 packs is... Sorry, Nick, you got a pen? Well, it's roughly around £5 a bag.
OK.
It's not bad. Cheese and onion.
I think I've heard enough.
He made an awful fool of himself. Awful. I mean, you know, no wonder the Irish economy is down the pan.
The next move is really that you as the team leader are going to have to decide which two people you think need to come back in this boardroom.
Well, personally, I would go for Richard Hammond, obviously, and possibly one from the Pussycat Dolls, the one in the front.
You've made some ridiculous statements across the table here to me. It ain't going to get you anywhere. You're fired.
Good point. Well, obviously I'm very disappointed to be knocked out so early. I thought I'd go much further in the competition. I think Lord Allen's made a big mistake. Well, I think the Japanese guy will probably win it, but she's going to push him all the way. She's tough. And she's got what it takes. Can't get a word out of her. It's all up here. Very tough.
One job. Now 15 candidates. Lord Sugar's search for his apprentice has begun.
I don't think Lord Sugar liked him at all, though. I kind of felt really sorry for him. He could have won if he'd been a totally different person.
I'm just hanging some gruel on the tree for the local poor children. Christmas is all about the kids, isn't it? Their sooty little faces. We won't be seeing any of those for budgetary reasons. I asked could we afford to see urchins. They said yes, but I think they misheard me. So, here it is. A sea urchin. But they do make a splendid bauble. Cards, trees, wanting to kill your relatives with fire. Pretend Victorian Christmas is all about the traditions, isn't it? And we all love a tradition. And once again, the country turned out with their traditional rosettes, balloons, and a man in a chicken suit for the general election.
It's one of those occasions that always brings the nation together, you know, like it's like Christmas or bonfire night. Everyone's out and about. There's a great sense of excitement and enjoyment. It's great for the kids too. They get to be involved. Well, they don't, but...
The origins of Election Day are lost in time. Some think it was something to do with deciding who runs the country, but now it's merely ceremonial.
Oh, it's full of eccentric characters. My favourite's the returning officer.
Jack of the Boxes, that's what they used to call him in my constituency. Still do, actually, some of the old folk. Ned Votibones, that's another one that I've heard. And Billy Ballot. My mum lives down in Dorset, and it's Billy Ballot. Billy Ballot night. So, yeah, different places, different names.
There are occasional hiccups. This year, I went to vote to my local school at 9:30, and I was told they got overbooked. I was bumped.
The election is from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m.
I was really angry at first, but they put me up in a nice hotel, well, the staff room at the school, but the couch was a free-seater. And they gave me a voucher that I can use to vote in some council elections in Ghent, which I've never done before, so, you know, great.
But the big story was the first ever televised election debate.
You know, the tradition of election debates between the main party leaders, goes back hundreds, if not thousands of years, you know. But this was the first time, obviously, that the election debates had been televised, and I think everyone was surprised by the sheer noise of the debating horns.
The leader of the Conservative Party, David Cameron, the leader of the Liberal Democrats, Nick Clegg, and the leader of the Labour Party, Gordon Brown.
The debating horns have always been a traditional part of election debates. I mean, they sound like a swarm of wasps trapped in a swarm of bees, but you can't argue with tradition.
I love them horns.
They have spoken about 600,000 people. If that's the number, they should come clean about that. I'm not wiggling.
These things were so noisy that they completely spoiled the debates for the people listening at home.
I'm retired, having worked all my life.
Luckily, horn etiquette dictates you can't blow over a question, only over the answers.
What are you going to do to prevent that abuse?
Let me tell you what I would do. First, we've got to reward tackle welfare payments.
Yeah, this was my great-grandfather Robert Lemuel's debating horn, which we've kept in the family. I don't know which end you blow.
I mean, it was amazing, really. I mean, before the debates, they simply hadn't known they had existed.
Debating horns?
Liberal Democrats.
And for the outgoing Prime Minister, there's the time-honoured tradition of the prerogative of contempt, in which he can use his last hours in office to thoroughly insult a member of the public.
You're joking. Poor Gordon Brown. Luckily, Jeremy Vine cheered him up. Well, things didn't get better for Gordon. He lost the election and the country was left with a political civil partnership.
And then there was that famous, embarrassing question about Cameron's joke in the campaign.
Prime Minister, do you regret once calling the Deputy Prime Minister a gurning, shoe-faced balloon?
We're all going to have. I'm afraid I did once.
Right.
We're all... Come back!
It turned out Clegg couldn't take a joke and Cameron had to replace him with someone much less sensitive.
Let me ask you about the book. Am I alone in feeling that it's disastrous? Let's be honest. Really bitter and toxic and arrogant and vain, venal. I quake at the imbecility of it.
Well, pretty much.
I thought it's a boring, petty, malign, endless, wearisome and sinister book to a degree that cannot be surpassed in any other work of fiction.
There is some truth in that, actually, and I reproach myself for that in a way.
I spent an awful lot of my time shifting in my chair and jabbing my fingernails into the palm of my hand to stay awake. The only diversion, for the sake of my health and sanity, was to have two transvestites on the spot.
Of course, and I understand that.
A lot of people would say, well, it's absolute crap.
It's the way it is, so there's no point in complaining about it. But that's my, that's what I think. Many may disagree.
Tony Blair, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature... Sorry, I'll just turn the fire down. There. Oh, it's that fire. I've seen it. It's the one Roald Dahl used in Tales of the Unexpected. In a minute, there's nudie ladies writhing in the flames. Let's see what else is on. Yeah. Oh, how Christmassy. Yeah, lovely. That fish looks a bit like Anne Robinson. They've given me some weak links, but that has to be the weakest link yet. Do you see? Oh, that's good.
Welcome to the weakest link.
I mean, everyone loves to see Anne Robinson dishing it out and all that stuff, but this went way too far.
Of all the people to pick on, he seemed like the nicest guy.
Did you think you had to come in fancy dress?
This is just what vicars have to wear, Anne.
Do you know how silly you look?
Well, it's, a sign of my calling.
What, God called you?
Actually, it was one of your researchers that called me.
And that was it. You knew Anne had smelled blood and this was going to run and run.
She is your typical cheeky little Robin Redbreast. Small, shrill, fiercely territorial, makes a huge amount of noise without contributing much of any use whatsoever. At the end of the day, she's surprisingly aggressive.
And are you married?
Only to the church. I share a house with the verger, Edward.
And is Ed your husband?
No, he's the verger.
Is Ed your sugar daddy?
No, this is a little off the point.
Have you got a boyfriend?
I'm not actually gay, although I am seeing somebody at the moment.
Really? What's he called?
It's not a man. Can we move on?
I think maybe 15, 20 minutes she was laying into the sky.
This evening, I have to conduct a lady's funeral.
Oh, how sad. And what's she called?
Jan.
What happened to Jan?
She died in her sleep, peacefully.
You knock around with dead bodies all day.
Please. Her family are very upset.
And what's the coffin made of?
That's enough.
She basically treated him like a performing monkey. I mean, it was really, really, really weird and utterly compelling.
Put your board up. Put your board down.
Do we have to do this?
I want you to pour me a drink.
What?
As if you really fancy me.
We all knew it was building.
Show me how you lay a brick.
Anyone could see that the sky was going to snap.
Put your board up. Put your board down.
She totally provoked him.
Put your board up. Put your board down. Are you not good enough to be a vicar?
That's it.
Oh, did he?
I don't regret headbutting Anne Robinson in the face. I think, on balance, it's what God would have wanted.
Apparently, when he headbutted her, she spat out one of her new cheeks.
Luckily, the BBC has got like a whole set of spare Anne Robinson parts in the prop store, so she could be quite easily put back together. Although I think she ended up with a Mr. Potato Head eyebrow somehow, but no one seems to have noticed, so...
Crikey. Time now for Professor Brian Cox.
In this film, we'll discover how magnificent drugs really are. Despite appearances, I'm just a far-out young man from Manchester, which is one of the driest places on the planet. These are the scablands, where geezers kick off at a moment's notice, making it the most violent place in the solar system.
So it's either death or whiskey.
But I'm lucky enough to escape. I've come to one of Earth's natural wonders.
To do something that I have always wanted to do.
I'm about to get incredibly high. You only really need three things. First of all, you need copious amounts of wine. Secondly, you need the most amazing white lines. Bang, bang, bang. Literally hoover it up. And thirdly, you need some kind of solvent. I think it's absolutely wonderful. But then, imagine this. I got absolutely smashed on acid. It is quite incredibly beautiful. And that's why I love physics. But as you head towards the light, you enter a realm of giants. It's beginning to come. The end of the world. I lost it very quickly. Eventually, though, I had the most devastating come down. It was straight up dark side. But remarkably, getting completely toasted is absolutely magical. And that is one of the wonders of the solar system.
So, 'twas the night before Christmas, and all through... And all through the house there was... Oh. Hello? Hello, is anyone there? Gasp! It's the ghost of TV Christmas specials past. The restless spirit of Aldunican's Christmas jumper. Have you come to warn me of the follies of doing a pretend Christmas? If so, give me a sign, O haunted Christmas light entertainment jumper. Get off, please. Oh, so can you see where the money went? I mean, I noticed we can afford a flying lemon jumper, but I have to get the bus home. Sorry, can you stop that, please? Very irritating. I mean, honestly, all that money and effort and the actual ghost was invisible. Mind you, it was still a lot easier to spot than Gordon Brown after the election. Do you see? Nice. Thank you.
Gordon Brown just disappeared. Poof. Like that Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland. Except instead of leaving behind a smile, he left back that robotic grin. Just hung around in the air, made you feel sick.
1 minute he was there, the next minute he'd gone, just like that. I mean, I've had cases of mild chlamydia hang around longer than that. Much longer than that. I mean, I had one case. I must have had it for most of sixth form. longer.
But help was